Hey YouTube, it's Tempest. Um, with the new cross-ride units coming out for the meta, um, I have been retooling my decks recently to help compete with them. A lot of stuff that used to be really good and really consistent is a lot less so I'm trying to fix it up. This is the first in a series of videos I'm doing on how to compete with the cross-rides. So basically, offensively, the only way you can compete with the cross rides is to well, the best way anyway, I guess, is to make 3 columns that hit for at least 18k, preferably 23 on your Vanguard circle. So normally the best way to do that is to have a 10k Vanguard booster and a Vanguard that swings for 12 or 13 usually, against your opponent's cross rides. With that in mind, this is the first of my 3 decks that I'm going to be going over. I have lots of decks, obviously, but only a couple of them can actually, in my opinion, compete really well with the new cross rides. So I'll go ahead and get through this one really fast. I'm just redoing my Lawkeeper deck. Currently, it's my best deck, favorite of mine, and yeah, I'm going to love it in the new meta. So starting Conroe is obvious. Switches out Ryopia, which is your 10k Vanguard booster. So yeah, you really want him in here. For triggers, 4 Tar and 4 Draco Kid, and then 2 Carbuncle, 2 Monica, and then 4 Genjo. 8 crit, 4 draw, 4 heal, as opposed to 12 crit, because you need the draw power to help you set up your field with all the stuff you need. For grade 1s, the 4 bars. These are important to put behind your rear guards because they help you hit the 18 mark you need to hit at least. For Gojo, lately I've been finding that he's really hard to make use of it for, but he's really good turn 1 if you're going first, and still a good turn 1 if you go second, so you can give it the drop and draw his effect if you ride something else. So yeah, Gojo is just a pretty good card for the deck. I prefer him over Airmo because with this you can at least let your Arc Dragons hit for 20. 2 Ryopia. Most decks are actually running him at 1 now, but I'm running him at 2 because if I run up against another Kagero player or another Kami player, or a Dark Regulars I guess could work too, I don't want to lose him, which is why I want to have him at 2 in case number 1, in case 1 gets damage checked, and number 2, in case he gets retired. So good to have it too. Oh, and then these 4 perfect cards, obviously. Grade 2s, 4 Nehalem, 3 Garp, and then 4 Tejas. Now, what I'm planning on doing with this lineup is taking out the 4 Tejases for Bellicosity Dragons when it comes out next month. Because Tejas is good and he's the best turn 2 ride the deck has. Go out and snipe your opponent's rear guards and stuff. But after that, he's incredibly worthless because the most he hits for is 16, and that's just really weak. So these guys are, if anything, are going to be what you want on your rear guards. The 10k beaters, and then boosted by bar, of course, if at all possible. But what Bellicosity Dragon will do for the deck is he's a 9k damage on flipper, so when his attack hits a Vanguard, you unflip 1 damage, very useful. If that happens, I'm going to tech out the 3 Garps for Berserk Dragons, and then I'll take out a Gojo and probably a grade 3 or 2 Kimnaras, and then I'll be a really good deck because you'll actually be able to, unflip damage as opposed to saving your counterblasts for this guy. Dragonic Lawkeeper, grade 3, main Vanguard of the deck. Once per turn, you can counterblast 1 if you have 4 more damage, and then you get to bind all your opponent's rear guards. And then if 4 more rear guards are bound with this effect, or actually 5 or more. If 5 or more rear guards are bound with this effect, your opponent must retire 1 of their choice at the end phase. Pretty good. Main Vanguard of the deck, you really, he swings for 13, boosted bar Ryopia, that makes him 23. You really need him. He's one of my favorite cards. His limit break is just so really overpowered for how much you pay for it, to be honest, I think. 3 Dual Axe, only 3, because you don't want him to be your main Vanguard, and at this point in the game, him hitting for 21 only on the rear guard circle isn't going to be enough to hit over your cross ride, so he's really only good at 3. And the 1 Executioner, I was going to make this a 4th Arc Dragon, but this is going to come out for a Kimnara instead. I think 7 grade 3s is enough in this deck, especially since cross rides can only grid in turn 4, but then you should have your field set up with your Arc Dragons and your Nehalims and whatnot. So honestly, I think that I can probably survive the deck with 7 grade 3s. So that's my Lawkeeper deck. Hope you find it helpful. Really, all you do is this is your ideal field right here. Um, yeah. Let me set it up really fast. Yep. Okay. So if you have a grade 2 Garp or Nehalem, it has to have bar behind it for it to hit 18. This is a magic number because it forces your opponent to guard with 10k if they have a 13k Vanguard, i.e. a cross ride. If you have an Arc Dragon, anything behind it will hit for 18 as long as you've used Lawkeeper's Limit Break because he gains 3,000 power when your opponent has 2 of your rear guards. So ideally you want a bar behind it in case your opponent has an 11k Vanguard, but Gojo will also work. And then again with this guy, same thing. If you have an 8k rear guard, you're good. And then of course Lawkeeper's Limit Break gives him 3,000 power because he gains 3 if your opponent has 2 of your rear guards, and then his Limit Break lets you bind everything. So of course it's really good. And then same thing with him, 4k boost if your opponent has 2 of your rear guards, so 23 column, 20, 21 column, and 18 to 21 column. It's very good. It'll be very consistent against the cross rides. Yeah, so thank you again for watching. Hope this was helpful, and very big consideration against cross rides. Thank you again.